Okay, let's just think about this for a second. What if you could tackle your biggest business challenges with I don't know, the speed and focus of a hackathon? Not over 6 months, but maybe in just a few weeks or even days. I know, sounds a little out there, but that's exactly what we're going to dig into today. And we're going to do it with some help from a real expert in this space, as Agarasil Anadorai, or just Aza, the director at Kaizentric Technologies. So, yeah, let's dive in.
You know, this quote from Aza really nails it for me. It just gets right to the point. I thrive on transforming ideas into products that solve real business challenges. See? It's not about just collecting data for the sake of it. It's about action. It's about turning all those numbers and charts into something real, something that actually fixes a problem. And honestly, that's the whole mindset we're talking about here.
All right, so let's talk about this hackathon mindset. I mean, when you hear the word hackathon, what do you picture? Probably a bunch of coders, right? Tons of caffeine, maybe some pizza, working all night long. And yeah, that's part of it, but we're talking about something bigger here. This isn't just a coding marathon. It's actually a really powerful business strategy, a totally different way of looking at the data you already have.
So what does a data hackathon actually look like for your business? Let's for a moment just forget the whole coding competition idea. Instead, I want you to think of it like this. It's a super focused, high-intensity sprint aimed at solving just one critical business problem. And the key? You do it using the information you already have.
And that's really the secret sauce right there. This is not about starting some huge, multi-year data project that's going to take forever. No. It's about taking one really specific, pressing question. Something like, hey, why are our sales dipping this quarter? Or where are our absolute best customers really coming from? And just throwing a concentrated, focused effort at it. You use the data you've got, and you get an answer. It's all about speed, and it's all about precision.
And look, this isn't just some nice theory. Oz's background, it's literally packed with wins at these super high-stakes hackathons and data challenges. I mean, we're talking StarHub, IDA, Dextra. This is the real deal. It just proves that this kind of focused, competitive, results-first approach, it absolutely delivers when you're up against tough, complex data problems.
Okay, so let's shift gears and talk about how this hackathon mindset can actually solve some, real-world business problems. Because let's be honest, for most of us, the problem isn't that we don't have data, right? The problem is the data is a total mess. It's scattered all over the place. It's telling different stories. Does that sound at all familiar? Yeah, I thought it might.
I mean, think about it. You've got your sales data in your CRM over here, then your financial stuff in your accounting software over there, and, of course, a million different spreadsheets just kind of floating around. And the big problem? None of them talk to each other. So you've got all these little pieces of a puzzle, but you can never ever see the full picture. You can't see your whole sales pipeline or what a customer's journey actually looks like. It is so frustrating.
And this is where the real stress starts to kick in, especially for business owners. You're constantly waiting for someone to run a manual report. You're trying to piece together your bank balance with what's coming in and what's going out. So much of it ends up being just guesswork. And that makes it pretty much impossible to know day to day what the real financial health of your company even is.
And here's the real kicker, the true cost of all this disconnected data. When you can't see the whole story, everything a customer has ever bought from you, or every time they've interacted with your team, you are literally leaving money on the table. You're missing these super obvious chances to cross-sell, to offer them more value, and that hurts, right in the bottom line.
So, okay, what's the fix? What's the answer to all this data chaos? Well, it turns out it's a concept that Aza put into practice when he was heading up business analytics at Sompo Insurance. And believe me, it is a total game changer. It's all about creating what's called a single source of truth.
And just look at the difference here. The old way, it's all about those data silos we talked about and a whole lot of guesswork. But the new way, this single source of truth, is about having all your data integrated, giving you automated insights. What does that mean? It means you get to make decisions based on actual facts, not just gut feelings.
And you know what? The path to get there is actually way more straightforward than you might think. It's really 3 steps. First, you integrate. You connect all those different data sources, your CRM, your bank feeds, all of it. Second, you structure it. You organize all that data so it's reliable and makes sense. And then third, you analyze it. That's when you get those real-time insights that actually help you move the business forward. That's really the whole process.
Okay, so that all sounds pretty good in theory, right? But what does this actually look like when the rubber meets the road, for different kinds of businesses? Well, let's jump into some real-world examples and see how this approach can deliver some seriously impressive results.
All right, first up, let's talk about the super high-stakes world of startups. This is a world where literally every single dollar and every single day matters. For a founder, cash flow isn't just some number on a spreadsheet. It's everything. It's the absolute lifeblood of the entire company.
So by pulling together their CRM and their bank data, a startup can suddenly get this real-time, totally automated grip on all these critical numbers. It's almost like having a virtual CFO in your pocket, one that gives you instant alerts and super clear forecasts. And that means the CEO can make smart, confident decisions even if they don't have a deep background in finance. I mean, how cool is that?
Just picture this for a second. Imagine knowing with absolute certainty that you have exactly 18 months of financial runway left. That one single number, it changes everything. Suddenly you know when to hire, how much to spend on marketing, when you need to start fundraising. That right there is the power of having crystal clear data. Okay, now let's switch gears completely. We're going to jump to a totally different industry just to show you how flexible this approach really is. Let's talk about insurance. For insurance firms, one of the biggest headaches is trying to connect their own internal data with all the data they get from their external partners, just to get that complete picture of a customer. But with a single source of truth, they can finally build that complete 360-degree view of their customers. And all of a sudden, bam, they can spot new cross-sell opportunities. They can get ahead of problems by monitoring large losses. They can even improve their own efficiency by tracking how quickly claims are getting closed. It's a win for the customer, a win for the company. It's a win-win-win.
And there's a phrase that Kaizentric uses that I think just perfectly sums up the end result here. Your one-stop growth shop. It's not just about cleaning up data. It's about building one unified solution that makes your operations simpler and really becomes the engine for growing your business.
So, as we start to wrap things up here, what is the one big idea, the main takeaway you should have from all this talk about the hackathon mindset?
Well, here it is. And this is maybe the most important part. This approach is not just for giant corporations with massive IT budgets. By adopting this kind of focused problem-solving mindset, pretty much any small or medium-sized business can start to unlock the power that's just sitting there, hidden inside its own data. It's a real path to sustainable growth.
And so, that really leaves us with just one final thought, one question for you. Don't try to boil the ocean here. Just think about this. What is the one critical business question that you could finally answer if all of your data was in one place, organized, and ready to go right now? Whatever your answer is, that is the perfect place to start your very first data hackathon.